working from home for most of us was really a necessity and really not a matter of priorities. Reason being the fact that COVID came, it hit us. We've seen a spike of numbers, the last few months as well. Most of the tech firms had an upper advantage because they had already put forward resources which could have really helped them to be able to mitigate the situation as it was. So 80% of tech firms were able to embrace the work from home situation quite really fast. But I think also on the other end, small and medium firms and enterprises were really much affected because they didn't have that work from home program before. And then they had to really put forward a lot of resources. And I think even right now, they are still affected by the situation as it is, but most of them are really working towards making sure that they are either putting their resources to assist their teams to work from home, or if their guys are working from the office, then they have to really support them towards making sure that that is happening.
It's an healthcare crisis. But for us, and more importantly, it's an economic crisis from an employment point of view. Before COVID, I was involved in many forums where we were discussing unemployment rates, especially for young people. We had seen over 75% of young Kenyans between 19 and 35 years do not have job opportunities. That was a big conversation. So you can imagine now, we're talking about unemployment, especially for young people, and now we have actions from Corona which leads to job cuts. So those who are employed are losing jobs. So the situation becomes dire, and the economic crisis from an unemployment point of view is even a larger impact. We've seen from the data that since COVID began, or March last year, 2.8 million Kenyans have lost jobs, which is a huge number. And this is an approximation. The last number I checked, Q3 or Q4 of 2020, we had lost already 2 million jobs. And from our analysis, we can see already that has increased. And the gap is growing by double digits. So from 5% to 10% every quarter, it's growing by 100%, which is a crisis, as I've mentioned.
We are advocating for seekers to understand the employer, because the employer for today is looking not only at your skill set, they're also looking at your ability to adopt. They're looking at your attitude, your work attitude. They're looking at collaboration. Are you able to do that and do it effectively across teams and get results? Are you able to do that virtually? Are you skilled in the different virtual platforms? So employers are looking for that, and you need to demonstrate that you have the ability to match them as per their expectation.
The only constant we have in life is change. I think for HRs, they are the one players in all the organizations that have been left behind when it comes to digitization. And now we are telling them, this is a fact, you have to adapt. This is not a maybe, it's a fact. You'll have to use tools, you'll have to get into those virtual interviews. So digitization for HRs is a must. For job seekers and people looking for opportunities, I'd want to say upskilling is the way to go. Right now, I don't think anybody can just chill and say, I am okay with what I have. I think upskilling is a must. For businesses, I'd say strategic partnerships for survival. I think the one thing that businesses will do to ensure that they are able to meet whatever objectives they have is partnerships. I'll go further and say we recently partnered with SME Founders Association so that we're able to reach more SMEs. We have solutions for them. We are the #1 platform when it comes to jobs and HR matters. And this is what we are giving to them. We're giving to them content, we're giving to them solutions, and we're giving to them a very wide reach of job seekers who can play a strategic role in ensuring that they grow, they keep growing.
So the major basics when the team is working from home is really putting a lot of trust and making sure that you put your best foot forward to support your employees while working remotely. So the reason why I'm saying that is because I think for the last 1 year, so many of our employees have been working from home. We have never seen them, but we still trust them to do their job. That's really important. Also, being able to set clear expectations for your employees. Making sure that communication is really on top, upbeat, and then as an employer, also making sure that you act as a security net. What we've seen, again, the fact that most of us are working from home, we have some of us are caregivers, some of us are parents, others are not, is that employer has to really come and support in terms of physical, financial, and mental well-being, so as to make sure that your employee well-being is really taken very good care of.
Work from home, yeah. Personally, I know I really struggled. I have 3 boys, and you can imagine them screening down the hallway as I have a serious meeting. But as I mentioned, it's something that we have to keep learning, because if you don't innovate, if you do not evolve, then you're declared irrelevant in any way. So we have to find better ways. I'm very optimistic, and I know there'll be an end maybe of COVID. But the best thing that happened in this is digital transformation has been accelerated because we've been forced to do this. And for sure, the people within the white-collar space, yeah, people in these kind of offices at 14 Riverside Drive, of course we can all, if it was a normal day, we could have 100 people seated here, full operation. But for us, it was very easy within a week to move everyone to work from home, and now we find it very effective. But what about the Juakale? Yeah? What about the guys down on Gikomba market trading, you know? And I think that's where the challenge comes, because the informal sector constitutes 70 to 80% of our economy. How do you tell those people to go and work from home? So there are 2 things, I think, from where we sit. One is there will be an increase in automation, especially for those industries, because from a factory, if you say you need to do social distance and, and normally there are 200 people in the plant, maybe at any given time, they'll have 50 people. So that will lower the production. And there will be a challenge in terms of demand. So acceleration through automation, so to maintain the productivity levels, I think that is one of the things. But 2, upskilling will always be needed to find better ways on how maybe people can work in a market where there are gig jobs. Not only one job, but people are given their skills to deliver jobs to not only one company, but various number of companies.
So these are the trends that we've seen in the industry. It's still an ongoing situation, as we can see right now. But looking at the future of work, again, it's something that was really still happening before. But I think COVID-19 has come and made the future of work really accelerate the situation than it was before. So what we've seen is that 80-90% of businesses are really also trying to make sure that their team can go and locate and work from home, coming up with a contingent workforce. Businesses are really working towards making sure that they are still able to retain their bonuses, their wages, because the revenue has really come down for most businesses as well. So you have to make sure that you still sustain your business at the end of the day. So the health of our employees is really a top priority, but at the end of the day, you still want to remain afloat and you still want to sustain your employees as well. So the situation is still dire as it is right now, but from a future of work perspective also is that we've seen a lot of tech innovation from a HR perspective. Looking at things to do with surveys, making sure that the work culture still remains top priority. We don't have a work from home culture anyway, but we are trying to make sure that our employees are still talking and communicating with each other, doing daily check-ins and checking that your employees are really still okay. So again, in terms of what we call surveys, making sure that your employee work experience has really been taken good care of. So you have to keep on running surveys, checking what your employees are saying, and then you come up with measures to be able to help your employees to deliver at the end of the day.
All right, we have more than 1 million job seeker profiles on our website. So we're looking at a trend where about 1,000 seekers will apply for any one job on the platform. Some jobs, of course, require highly skilled candidates, and so those will attract less numbers, somewhere in the area of 100 to 300 applications, at least, in the very least. And so what we've seen seekers do on our website is not only accessing the right jobs that they qualify for and update their profiles to match those jobs, we've seen them as well seek for content that's relevant to how they can upskill themselves, how they can position themselves uniquely in the market. And so we've seen a lot of traffic go towards, I now have a CV, I now have a profile on Brighter Monday. What can I do so that I'm able to attract an employer towards my application? So user education is key for us as a business, constantly giving relevant market trends to our seekers, enabling them to position themselves in the market is very key for us. So we've seen seekers reach out and say, would you have a look at my CV? What else can I do to tweak it? We've had seekers appreciate that the website gives them an update on the fields that they need to fill so that they are at 100% completion, completed profiles on the website. So then after that, of course, a seeker is saying, I've been applying for jobs on your website. Please, what else can I do, or how else can I get employers attracted to my profile? And so when we speak to seekers, because we interact with seekers across different channels and engagement points, we have webinars that are targeted towards these questions and the kind of feedback we receive from seekers. We have the content I've mentioned, which is on our blog on Brighter Monday. We are engaging with seekers on social media with Facebook Live sessions and Instagram sessions, getting subject matter experts, both internally at Brighter Monday and externally, to speak to what stands out in an application. So we're seeing seekers say, I now have a good profile, I have an excellent CV, thank you, Brighter Monday, and I have been applying for certain jobs. What else can I do? And on the website, we've now updated a digital CV. So a seeker is able to actually access this CV, download it. It's a 2-pager because that's the best practice. You need to have a 2-page powerful CV that speaks to your skill set, that speaks to your strengths as a candidate. We are asking seekers to upskill, and as Emmanuel had mentioned, it needs to be across industries. So if your expertise you feel is in one particular industry, you now need to acquire certain skills, like digital marketing skills, for example. I understand Google actually has a free program for that. No matter what industry you're in, you need to take some short courses. Some are actually at no cost and are available across platforms. And then you need to update these onto your profile to show that you're relevant and to show that you are occupied during the time, during this time as people are working from home, and that you are seeking to stand out as an ideal candidate for an employer. Another thing is,
So as it is now, I think we are still going to go ahead with the situation as it is, but most firms have to really also be able to put resources to be able to support their employees to work from home, because it seems like this situation is going to be there for long. So it's not like it's going to end tomorrow or in the next 2 months. And therefore, I think it would be wrong to assume that we are going to come back to the office in the next 2 or 3 months. The work from home program will still continue, will still go on for the coming months. And therefore, we have to make sure that we look at the pros and the cons, both from an employer perspective and from an employee perspective. If we're talking about an employer acting as a social security for their employees, then we have to make sure that we are putting forward the best resources to be able to assist that. If we're talking about COVID-19 vaccination and stuff like that, so as at when it's available to the general public, then I think employers will again require employees to be vaccinated. That's a pro. If we're looking at the other side, again, if there are side effects from that, then again the business has to bear the brunt of that as well. So I think it's a very long kind of cycle that we've seen. But the good thing is that with tech industries, they're already prepared, and what we see moving forward is a situation whereby I think flexible working arrangement will still go on. So most companies have seen the benefit of working from home, and I think moving forward, even when the restrictions are out, then we might have a shared 50-50 kind of program whereby companies might require 50% of their employees to work from the office and 50% to work from home. Obviously, because it builds trust. I don't see you, but you work from home within a year, and I only interact with you virtually. Things to do with onboarding. We've seen companies onboarding employees, over 80% are onboarding employees virtually. We have an employee, an applicant tracking system, we hire virtually, and we really even have you report to work and you continue working with us for as long as you can, so long as we're able to do these, all these things virtually. So a lot of trust, building trust from the employer to the employee, even if you don't really work with, you don't really come to the office physically at the end of the day. And obviously, it also boosts a lot of morale because, I mean, you spend a lot of time in traffic, so that time can be dispensed to be able to do much more meaningful work at the end of the day. And then, again, you're able to dispense more and give more focused results at the end of the day. So I think that's really the basics from a work-from-home situation. And then, of course, we have the benefit of guys working from home. It builds a lot of trust. We are able to see much more meaningful results from the employees. It boosts a lot of morale. And also, in terms of the future of work, I think this has to be a long-term situation that we're going to see moving forward, with the companies being forced to put forward a lot of resources to be able to support their employees working for, even from the small and medium enterprises. They still have to make sure that they are putting forward resources towards supporting the work-from-home situation as the future of work, which was still there before, but COVID-19 has really come and made this situation to really accelerate. Yeah.
All right, Kimani, a year into the pandemic, we've seen cases increase, we've seen more people being affected and infected with the disease. So ahead of...
And we've seen some industries that have been hit hard. And for those you have seen out there, the hospitality industry and leisure, entertainment industry, and healthcare, I think, in a way, but that's moving on a positive direction. And we've seen some industries that have been impacted positively. So this is the tech Kimani is talking about, e-commerce space, the online marketplace, and all these industries that do not involve a meeting physically. So one of the trends that we've drawn from this is that we've seen candidates who are looking, or rather who are applying for jobs across industries. So we'll find a candidate who's been in the hotel industry, looking for a job in the e-commerce industry. Yeah, that's the cross-industry job applications that we've seen as an increase. Yeah, and with that, it forms a number of challenges in a good and a bad way. One, as recruiters, employers come to us and they ask us, this is the minimum requirements. We need someone who has 3 years of experience in the hospitality industry or whatever industry. So what do you tell a candidate, or how do you shortlist a candidate that is applying from a different industry because they are not a priority or preferred option from an employer shortlisting point of view? And with that, as Brighter Monday, we thought deeper because we believe that this candidate have the skill and the ability to deliver. So we introduced the skills assessment. And the skills assessment is a test that a candidate can take and show their core competencies and knowledge to be able to deliver, even if they cross to a different industry. And for us, we provide technology, which is the application tracking system, that helps the employer objectively make decisions. Now, they're not making decisions based on you've been in this industry, but you have the ability and you have the knowledge to deliver. And that's why we move in people from industry one, which is mostly affected, to another industry that is good talent that employers need to consume. And it's with that we talk to especially micro, small, medium enterprises who do not have the knowledge and ability to get that, and small, medium enterprises in that time so that they can be able to grow their business. With that, of course, we always encourage employers. We launched an Earn and Refi and Earn campaign, which helps employers distribute this knowledge to their networks and also even earn more benefits by unlocking more opportunities by getting the skill assessment. So we've seen emerging skills and during the COVID period, which are required by the job market, which include artificial intelligence. So technology has always been an enabler to help organizations meet their goals. So there's an increased demand in artificial intelligence or algorithms that helps to predict behavior and propose better solutions. The other skills that have been on a high demand during this period is data-driven or data science and IT and technology skills. We also see an increased need of soft skills, and I'll just name them. So employers are looking for candidates that have adaptability and agility. They have skills in emotional intelligence. They have a growth mindset. They are open and keen learning. I think learning is one of the most important things because not only the cross-border applications within the industries, but actually even within the organization setup. So moving from a role maybe which is more contact, facing with clients to maybe telesales or customer service, so that cross change of roles and responsibility within an organization. Or another example would be, Pansy is our head of marketing. She's really had to upskill herself to understand digital marketing because that's how she's reaching more of our users. So that is really needed, and of course a skill that is needed by most of the employers. Others are innovation and critical thinking. So how you get this, of course, there's a formal way to do it, but on the other hand, you have to demonstrate that to employers.
Mental well-being has remained the critical, essential thing that employers could give to their employees during this period. Quite important, because what we've seen is that COVID-19 has taken a toll on our mental well-being, on our health, on our families, and everything. And therefore, as businesses, we have to make sure that you are in constant conversation with your employees, have daily check-ins with your team members. Don't just sit down and assume that someone is okay just because you can see them writing emails, right? Check, are your employees taking leave days to go and rest and recharge and come back when they have fully re-energized to be able to deliver. Also, we have a lot of experts in the industry in mental well-being, even from our insurance partners. And what we have done also internally is to make sure that we have these guys come and talk to our employees on what we are able to do and so as to better our mental stability. I mean, is it really taking leave, go and rest for 2 days? Do you need to take a break from home, like the work from home situation? So your home is your office setup. Do you need to take a break for 2 or 3 hours midday and come back? And obviously make your supervisor aware that that is happening. So we expect a lot of insurance firms and experts in mental well-being to really spearhead this conversation and narrative towards supporting employees from mental health perspective. But again, we don't just look at the experts in the industry. I think also us as employees, it's also our responsibility, our personal responsibility, to take very good care of ourselves and our mental well-being. It should start with me before I should be able to seek support from the employer.
Another thing we've noticed with seekers is that there's increased engagements on networking platforms, right? So seekers are looking out for genuine connections. Somebody who has pioneered in your area of expertise, or somebody that you consider to be a subject matter expert in your area of interest, and they are looking for those people, connecting with them across networking platforms, professionally stating what they need from these people. Like if a seeker interacts with you on LinkedIn, they are outright about their expectation in their engagement with you, and they are looking to further themselves and they're looking for growth. So some of the tenured employees in Kenya are looking for the next best thing, right? So when they come to our platform and they have all the attributes that I have mentioned, then they are looking to be placed at roles that involve strategy, roles that involve a level of growth. They are now looking to step up in terms of middle management and or C-suite positions. So at Brighter Monday, these are the profiles that we will enable employers to look at. We will also shortlist these people because they have already stood out in their areas of expertise. And these are the ones that will attract employers to now gain a certain other level of candidates, people who are well experienced in their areas of interest.
So as Brighter Monday, we reviewed ourselves and said, what are we really good at? So number one, we have a platform, and we've invested the last 15 years to create a large audience that Bella has just mentioned. So what do we guarantee these SMEs? We guarantee them a good volume of candidates. As you've heard, we are averaging about 300 job applications per role. Yeah. So this is not just an application, but more so ability to find the best, because we want to break the norm where SMEs or micro companies, that's what happens. I form a small company, I ask my brother to join in, and the wife and the sister, and then you're not running an organization in a professional manner. We're not saying that is bad, but I use the right tools to access the talent that will unlock your productivity. So reliability is one, and that's why we communicate hire the Brighter Monday way, which is the best way. Secondly, it's the efficiency. The efficiency aspect is we are currently in a demand market. Everyone is looking for a job. Can't imagine the number of calls that I get, hey, can I get a job? And the essence of creating a platform is to provide a platform that is transparent and uses, credibility to unlock the right talent. So the efficiency comes from the application tracking system to be able to rapidly filter job applications in a manner that you can go through 1,000 applications and still be able to identify the best. Yeah? And that's why we say hire the Brighter Monday way, because from a human aspect, it would be really difficult to go through 1,000 CVs. On average, a CV has 3 pages, so you can imagine 1,000 applications. Who is good in math? Bella, you're a mathematician.
3,000 pages.
Yeah. How big is the Bible? How many pages does it have? So you can imagine it's like reading a Quran or the Bible, I think, to be able to identify the best. But that's the beauty of technology. You actually make a decision using technology, application tracking system, make it very efficient to achieve that. Then it's easy to use, very intuitive. The process is very simple. As I mentioned earlier, we have skills assessments that you can add that help employers make objective decisions, not only on the CV or the profile that has been provided, but more so based on competencies and knowledge that you're actually good at delivering value. And lastly, not least, it's very affordable. I think we cut across solutions that serve from micro, small, medium enterprises to large corporations through our concierge services. So that's why we say hire the Brighter Monday way, because it's a smart way to actually unlock and get what you're looking for.
We know that the SME sector in Kenya is growing quite a bit. We have financial services reflecting as the highest number, and that's where most of the growth is happening. And what we have then is institutions that have been set up with decision makers who are taking up multiple roles at a time. So somebody is the CEO or the MD of the organization, and that same person is responsible for recruiting and expanding that organization. That same person is responsible for growing their market share, for bringing in the right talent. So what we have now is SME business decision makers who need to strategically partner with organizations that can enable them to grow. So these SMEs need to speak with Brighter Monday, for example, who can now be their hiring partner. Because if their area of expertise is business management, then they need somebody to supplement their recruitment. These same companies have engagements with banking, they have engagements with insurance, and they are trying to make decisions that will affect their business growth and sustainability. Most of SMEs are looking just to break even, right? So they've partnered, yes, with financial institutions, but they also need to look into allocating a portion of their budget towards what their SME can do to remain sustainable in the market. So I've already mentioned a strategic partnership with Brighter Monday would enable them to bring on board fellow experts to grow their businesses and also to allocate their finances into priority areas for the business. Another thing that SMEs might be at fault in Kenya is creating an environment where you have one set of clients, or you have like exponential growth within a very short time, but that growth is not sustainable. And so some people will diversify very fast. You will start another arm within your business very fast without taking the time to understand what the downfalls are for that market segment. And I don't want to call it, I want to call it ambition. I don't want to call it greed. If you have succeeded and you feel like you're a one-hit wonder in one particular segment of the market, and you now want to diversify into areas of expertise, it's not a copy and paste. If another brand is doing it, it doesn't mean you also need to start doing it. So you have to craft something of a niche, something that is very specific to your area of expertise, and focus on that. So if you're going to access funding to grow your organization, focus on your niche market, your niche content. Focus on that and not seek to do what everyone else in the market is doing. So if I was to highlight, I would say those two scenarios.
Mostly from a job losses point of view, before COVID, we had 17 million Kenyans officially were employed. And that number has dropped to, that was 17.8 million to about 15 million. 17.8 million before COVID. And you know that's a combination of both the formal and informal jobs in the market. And the number has dropped to 15 million. So that's why 2.8 million jobs have been lost during this period.
So you will find that, yes, you're entering the job market, but you are a result-oriented person. For example, you have constantly performed well in your academics. You are a collaborative person. You were a leader at school and were occupied with certain other, we call them clubs, right? And membership organizations within campus and before that. So positioning your narrative to show your skill set within that will be key. Another thing is to make sure that you're networking strategically. So if you're aspiring to move up, of course, in the job market, you're looking to speak to people who started at your same level. So you need to seek those people out. You need to seek the associations out, because we have a couple of universities and high schools that have alumni associations. In those alumni associations are professionals who've grown through the ranks. So that's a strategic positioning. Join that membership and begin to position your narrative about your growth in those associations. I would tell a fresh graduate to be intimate with all the content about the Kenya job market and how it's changing. I would tell that young person as well to interact digitally with any skills that they're able to acquire, probably at no cost or even very affordably online, and to begin to position themselves for virtual jobs even outside of the Kenya space. So we actually have virtual jobs that have their headquartered companies outside of Kenya, outside of Africa. So they can work and do entry-level jobs virtually, and those opportunities are available across the globe. So that is the kind of advice that I'd give a new graduate.
The other aspect is something to do with the networking. And I think over 50% of guys that we hire on a day-to-day basis really will be either you stand out or you network with someone that you know in the industry. So they need to attend a lot of networking sessions. There are quite many. There are so many webinars that you can link and catch up with the expert in the industry. That's how you're able to know and know that know someone that you can really link up towards getting a job. There's also the aspect of what do we look for when we are hiring as a business. So we take keen interest in the fact that you don't have the skill sets that you need to be able to do that job. But however, do you have the culture fit? Do you have the work attitude that is needed for you to deliver? Because we say culture fit and attitude are really key, but they can't be retrained on. But in terms of the technical expertise, that one you can be trained on when you come to the job. And lastly, we also urge job seekers to be a bit more abrasive, and really they shouldn't discriminate jobs. Because right now, I think jobs are so limited right now. Industries are shrinking and jobs are changing at the end of the day. So they need to understand the trends of the industry right now, see which jobs are available, and then if an opportunity comes, they shouldn't really say that because I did economics, then I can't do a job in HR or a job in IT or something else. So they can start building their skills towards diversifying to a different field altogether if they have a passion in that area as well.
So as an example of last year, our data shows, and we can share this with you, 5,000 matches that we did in 2020, yeah, from our platform. So the indicator that comes from Brighter Monday is the number of jobs that are advertised on the platform, and we also sample the number of jobs that are advertised even from the competing platform. So we know how many jobs are advertised in the market, and we know our share, and from that share, we know we've matched 5,000 professionals successfully with job opportunities.
Aspect of occupational safety and health was there even before COVID. So we used to have experts from the DOSH, at the Ministry of Labor. They come, they do a workplace assessment, and then they tell us, this is how your workplace is, but we have some risky areas. And you work towards improving, get fire extinguishers. Right now we have COVID-19. Again, last year we had experts come into the office. They assess the work environment. They tell us, come up with mark the office. This is direction that guys need to walk to. They shouldn't step here. Guys should have masks. Come up with sanitizers in the office and things like that. But I think more importantly, we are not yet beyond that because we're still wearing masks and still sanitizing and maintaining social distancing and things like that. COVID-19 is still here with us, and so to speak, might be here to stay for the next couple of months or even years. So, as I mentioned earlier on, the experts in the industry have to really gear towards speaking to job seekers constantly, at least once per quarter in a year. Let's have an expert from a mental health EQ perspective come and have a discussion with the employees around the mental health survey. All right, around the mental health of the employees. Let them ask the relevant questions. How are you guys feeling? What do you think the business can do to be able to improve your mental health? Do you guys need more resources working from home? Are you getting more work? Do you get constant daily check-ins from your supervisor? Right? And things like that. So it's a myriad of issues that needs to be done, I think so. Because mental health is, in one way, my responsibility as an employee, but again, the employer also has a responsibility towards making sure that your health has been taken care of as well. Also, speaking to the insurance partner in the industries, I know most firms have insurance covers. Do they have an additional benefit that they can get experts in the industry as well to come and advise on those matters, right? And then, of course, again, I think as employers, we have to be at the forefront, making sure that if someone gets COVID in the workplace, what measures do we take as a business? What kind of support do we give to that employee? If they have only 14 days sick leave at the end of the day, do we extend the leave days until this person really recuperates and they are ready to come back to the operations? Or do we say to hell and they should come back tomorrow and continue working? So, I mean, we have to be really humane at this period.